Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the IT Skills channel. My name is Aiden. In today's video, we're going to take a look at Azure Dev Lab. Azure Dev Lab has been around for a while now, and we're going to take a look at it and see how it would cater to us as an IT professional, as a developer, as an everyday user maybe, a tester, a student, you name it. We're going to take a look at the benefit it will give us, the benefit, the pros and the cons, and everything else you can think of. This is going to be a very good one if you are actually thinking about labs. Azure Dev Lab is, if you didn't hear it, it's actually a best solution one of the best solutions that Microsoft developed. Azure Dev Lab is a service for easily creating, using, and managing infrastructure as a service, IaaS, virtual machines, VMs, and platform as a server, PaaS, environment in labs. Labs offer pre-configured bases and artifacts for creating VMs. Azure Resource Manager, ARM template for creating environment like web apps or SharePoint farms. So in a way, Azure Lab Service can be pre-configured to use virtual machine that have tools and software ready for the student, lab user, developer, you name it. Lab users can claim pre-configured VMs. In this case, they already have what they need in the VM, or they can get a vanilla VM, a VM that doesn't have any configuration, and do the configuration themselves. They are lab policies that combat any issues, any problems that users will face. And that's where it comes down to lab usage cost, because in Azure, we know you're getting billed by what you use, not what you have. So in this case, you want to make sure that the VMs are not utilized all the time. You can have VM deployed, but if they're turned off, then you shouldn't be getting billed, right? And so in this case, that's what we're trying to do. The common DevLab scenarios includes people developing or deploying VMs, test environment, classroom, or training. Nowadays, it's very important for us to go ahead and learn. Learning is really important, and there's so much things going on with the economy, and so you want to stay on top of your A game. Azure Dev Lab gives you the ability to stay in your A game. You don't have to worry about how am I going to get the cost to learn this. If you are now a motivated individual, you should be able to have all the key and the bells and whistles to go ahead and learn whatever you desire. Whether there's AI, that's coding, whether there's programming, whatever it may be, you can learn it. In this case, I'm not a developer, but I'm going to be coming from the approach of IT professional. I'm an IT professional, over 13 years experience, and I love to go ahead and actually do this. Actually, 15 years to be honest with you, but who's counting, right? So in this case, Azure Dev Test Labs can be given custom images, formulas, anything you desire. So without further ado, we as an administrator are gonna go ahead and get started on this one. And I'd love to go ahead and show you this, so please stay tuned. So we can now see the overview summary of this one. But in this case, when we take a look at it here, it says here Azure Dev Lab is free. However, you'll be charged for other services are created in the Dev Lab. So in this case, it's free, but once you start messing with VMs, you're going to be charged for that. So just know that nothing is free in face value. So it's always going to be cost. Now to get started, I'm going to hit sign in. When I sign in, this is going to take me to the Azure portal. And then here I have a couple things going on. So first things first, you're going to see that I have been messing with Dev Labs. Why not? It's great. And I have classes that I teach. So I'm going to click on Dev Labs. You're going to see that I have 2 labs created already. They're ready. And I'm going to add the third one for you guys to see this in this video. This third lab is going to be, we're going to create the lab. We're going to want to create new resource groups so we don't interfere with the other lab. And I'm going to have to change the region and everything else. So let's come over here, click create. And we're going to call this one ITKY. I teach MAZ 800 series. 800 class. Just do 800 class. I'm going to use it for other things, but right now I'm just calling it I teach AZ 800. So in this case, or I can call it something else, but in this case, I'll keep it as I teach AZ 800. And this is the resource group, though I like to say something like this is the resource group. So we want to see Dev Labs AZ800. And then we're going to hit, and then the name of the lab, this is what I would like to say. This is what we'd like to say. I teach AZ800 class. The region, North Central US. That's what we're going to choose. And the reason we're choosing that is because this one gives us a little bit more free Azure Bastion Developer Edition. And that's what we need to take advantage of that. So we're going to click on public environment. It just means that you want the lab repository to use public environment, public interfaces. That's which means yes. The next thing is we're going to click on next button for the shutdown. And we can enable this here, or we can enable it somewhere else. Right now, for the purpose of this, I'll go ahead and enable it here, just show you, and we can also show you how to adjust it later on. So I'm going to say enable and shut it down at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. That's fine. Send a notification. We want to send a notification to IT support. Why not? So we know this is shutting down. Next is networking. The networking, I need to create a new one, and I need to make sure it lives on the right area. So we actually have one says ITKY Bastion VNet. So this one lives under the same region, the right region, and so we don't need to do anything else. Isolate the lab resource. We don't want to isolate it. We like the way it is. And here is it. Dev Lab is a trusted Microsoft service with manual identity. You can grant a RBAC permission from your lab to connect to Azure, including storage account keys, etc. Great. We like that. Next, we're going to do tagging. We're going to go ahead and actually hit view and create next. This reviews everything we're going to need to know about it. First, we got the name of the lab, the subscription, the resource group, and then the location of the lab, and then the environment type, the time zone, everything else. So we're going to hit create. Now, once we hit create, we'll wait patiently because we're patient people. And I'm going to go ahead and come back while this is getting created for us. You guys can see it's on the process, and I'm going to go ahead and just do this. So you can see both sides, what it's doing. How long does it take? It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes to create this. But if it takes longer than that, you will see it. So voila, the lab is up and running. We're all good. Now we can go to the resource tab, and then it's going to take us to the Azure Dev Lab services area. So you can see here the Azure Dev Lab. We're in it, and it's great. And I love it. So we are now going to go ahead, click on get started. Get started gives you everything you want to know. If you're new to Azure Dev Lab, this is where I recommend you to be in. But we're not new, so we're going to go ahead and actually skip to all this. This assumes that you already have a lab set up. We'll do this later on. But first, we set up policies. Policies is what keeps us in check. We need to set up policies. So we're going to click on what it says. Underneath those settings, you got configuration and policies. We're going to be around here for a while. And that's what we're going to set up everything from the likes of permission, from the likes of internal support, etc. So that's what we're going to do. So now I'm going to go ahead and actually do side by side for a little bit, just to give you some information. So the first thing I like to set up is the internal support. I already have internal support set up for another lab, and I'm going to copy and use rinse and repeat type of thing. I don't need to do the same thing to save on typing things. So I have a lab that I created earlier, and I'm going to get the internal support from there. So if I come over here and I have an internal support that I said something, I'm going to go ahead, copy this. Now we're going to come back to our new lab under this one. Well, that's not it. Let me close some of it here just to keep it all fresh and cleaned up. So now here is our lab configuration area. We're in here in the right area. Now we're going to click on internal support. We're going to hit yes. It's only basically what you need to do with internal support is that it gives you and the user who's using the lab a chance to assess the user. Basically, if the user has problem, in this case, I have students, they're young kids, 14 and up, and some of them are younger. They don't know how to connect to the lab. And instead of struggling, I would like for them to help me, to basically tell me about it. Send me an email to the right support. Sometimes I also have older students who are more into their profession, and they will help in some times connecting to the lab or having other issues. So in that sense, I'm going to say, please reach out to the IT team by emailing itsupport@ithky.org. Be sure to provide your name, phone number, email, and description of the issue. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to hit save. This is our internal support. We can do more fancy one. You can see you can use up to 3,000 words. which is fine, but right now I'm going to keep it like that. The next thing is allowed virtual machine size. This is something that I won't do right now, but it basically means that if you choose certain virtual machine that you select to allow, that's the only one the people can deploy in the lab, nothing else. And you want that because that way you don't want people to deploy a virtual machine that costs 5,000 a month. That's gonna get you broke faster than anything else. You don't want to be homeless now, so you want to keep people not subscribing to crazy virtual machines. So that's very important. Otherwise, you will get into the situation where you just like, what the heck happened? I am not supposed to get built for this. So be careful of that. Then you have, I'll configure this later on, but you have virtual machine per user. In this case, we have virtual machine per user. How many virtual machine do I want to give it per user? I'm going to just say for now, give it to him one, give the user one. Why? Because one is important. Then it's not, we don't have a lot of unlimited resources, so just give everybody one. Then, or we can say give it two. Everybody gets two virtual machine. But in this case, I'm going to keep it one. Then I'm going to say the limit number of virtual machine on disk on here. Hit set to on. I'm going to say 0 premium disk, no premium disk for anybody. So that's what we need. So we're going to need the number of a premium disk on the VMs or using premium disk at all. And then the number of virtual machine for user is going to be set to 1. So that's something that I do. You could, in your case, do 5 per user, or you could do 3 premium disk. It's all about your budget. If you got money, use it. I don't got money, so I'm just using what I can. And I'm trying to provide knowledge for good. That's what IT stands for. Then you got virtual machine per lab. Over here, it's simple. How many virtual machine do you want to use in your lab? I'm going to say 10. You could say 50. You could say 500. You name it. If you got the money, use it. I don't have the money. I'm going to keep it 10. And then you got the limit, the number of virtual machines using premium disk. I'm going to say on. I'm going to say 0. No virtual machine using premium disk. So again, that's another way to control my cost so I don't get surprise billing. The next thing is lab settings. You got the lab settings. So in this case, what do you want to give the lab? So do you want the lab to basically access all resources, or you want to just tell it to use only one resource group? I'm going to say, if you are a lab that's Azure Dev Lab AZ800, use that resource group. Don't use it. And also, resource group user rights, just set it to reader only. That's fine. So hit save. Same thing here, lab announcement. If I wanted to set up announcement, I could do it. And I'm going to put a simple message. But right now, we don't need to set up announcement. But if we wanted to do it, we can hit yes, save it, and put the message title, etc. You name it. That's simple. Browser Connect. Next, we're going to need to set up Browser Connect. Browser Connect is really allows user to connect to the machine using Azure Bastion. You have to use Azure Bastion services. So I'm going to hit on, and then I'm going to hit save. I already make sure that I have an Azure Bastion developer set up already. And I'm going to show you later on how that looks like before we move on. Then identity. This is the preview. We're not going to use it. Let's forget about it for now. Then the most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of saving you cost and money, is going to be under auto shutdown. Auto shutdown is how often do you want to shut it down? Yes, we want to shut this virtual machine down. When do I want to shut it down? I'm going to shut it down. Basically, that's what I enabled early on. I said shut it down at 7 p.m. and email that account, IT support. So in this case, let's change it to 8 p.m. And I'm going to say save. It's going to shut down 8 p.m. every day, or whenever, however long the machine is on, however many days it's on. So I'm going to say auto start. That's very important. I'm going to say start. If I do auto start, I'm going to say start every Thursday. My class is every Thursday at 8 p.m. or sorry, at 6 p.m. I'm going to say start the machine at closer to the class start time. So I would say give the students some time for them to prepare for it in case they're late on their homework. So in this case, I'll say start that at 5 p.m., 1 hour before class time. And it's going to save. That's saved. Now we're going to have auto shutdown. Who you can override that policy? User can set a schedule and can opt out. You can set a schedule and can opt out. User has no control over the schedule or opt out. So I'm going to say this is something the lab administrator can do. Done. Nobody can change that. Then we got more things left. We got our repositories, and then you got this one. We're going to leave it alone right now. We don't have any official repository we can add to. That's fine. We don't have any mandatory artifacts, virtual networks. We have our network set up, and this is what we have. The Azure Bastion is ready, is great. And then we can go ahead to the virtual machine basis. We have marketplace. The marketplace is very important. You can choose which images to use in the marketplace. And I will, in this case, I'm going to go ahead. And in this case, you can see I see a lot of virtual machine. So I can just go ahead and show, you see here, allow all marketplace image and the virtual machine images. So I'm just going to say no, only allow certain. So instead of allowing everything, I don't want Windows Server 2016. That's no point. I want 2022 only. So 2022. And then I also want 2022 Azure Core Edition. And then I don't want anything with a small disk. So I want regular too. So let's scroll down. We're going to have Linux and everything else. So let's keep scrolling down until we find everything else. So this gives you a lot, but you don't want people to use everything if you don't want to. And in this case, I don't want the students to even think about deploying servers that they don't have any idea of. So I want people to use what you trying to use in the class. And so if they have a marketplace, they can go ahead and you only use those things. So we got so many things in here, and we're going to keep scrolling down until we find, and then you can see here, Visual Studio Pro 2022 Windows 11 Enterprise, and that's fine. I like that. And then we have Visual Studio on Server 2022. So why am I selecting Windows 10? Let's select Windows 11. Don't be, and then you got other things that we can do. So this is again gives you that state of the art feel of it. So let's see here. We got a standard terms. Trying to see the difference here with Visual Studio Pro, Enterprise, Community Edition. So this one we can do this also. And then we can also do Windows 11 Pro. Do we have a Pro Windows 11? We don't have Windows 11 Pro. And if we did, I don't see it. Windows 11 Enterprise is the Pros. So we're going to say Pro. We want 23H2 channel. 24H2. That's a nice preview one we can have. Oh, awesome. That's great. And then you got Windows 11 Professional Cloud PC Plus. That's another one that I would love people to try. So you got all these images that I'm selecting for people to try and nothing else. And then obviously I want Windows Server 2022 Data Center, and then Server Annual Channel 23. So that's another one we can select. So this is what we're going to say. This is the marketplace we're choosing. We save it. Nothing else can be added to that. And that's how we restrict it. Then you're going to have shared images. I don't have anything right now. Custom images. I don't have any formulas. I don't have any. And then encryption. I don't have any. So you can preview the encryption and all those things. So you can do manage, properties, all that stuff. So that's perfect. We set up our policies. Policies is one thing. Now we're going to have to add the virtual machine. So first thing is in the overview, you're going to click on add. This allows you to add, and we should only see the servers we selected on the marketplace and nothing else. This is going to show us only, it should show us only all those things. So you can see it's limited to those things. And now I'm going to go ahead and choose Windows Server 2022. I'm going to choose this one for now. This is going to be great because it's going to cover up a lot. And I'm going to name the virtual machine. The username, I'm going to specify the username. And then the password used, save to secret. And then we're going to apply. This is something I can do later on. But then the size, I didn't specify the size, so we can choose the size now. The size, we're going to go ahead. We can select the premium SSD because I didn't configure it. But the size, we're going to go ahead and choose which size we want here. We got a lot of size to choose from. Some are better than others. So we're going to need DV4, and we also need, so you got E series. So I need something that actually gives us a nested virtualization. So let's go ahead to the D series. So you got D2 AS, D underscore. So you got a lot of the D series. So this one is actually good, general purpose. It gives you that. But I don't know if it's going to give, that's a lot of money though. It costs $367. But it's not exactly what we want actually on that one. So let's come over here. It gives us a good information, but I want the one that can support somehow nested virtualization, because I like for the students to do something in the nested virtualization format. So we got here what we got. V3, we don't have it so far. This is all V5s. So how about D4? So this is D5s. Some of them are retired though, I'm not gonna lie. And then you got D4s, which I was looking at it and they didn't have what we need. So after researching, we decided to go with this one, the B4MS. The reason is because there's a chance to have the life of a nested VM with enough specs. So we're going to get 16 gig of memory, and that's what we're going to try to do. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to hit select. We're going to hit create. We're going to have to set up password though. So I'm just going to say hit create. I have to find a value. All right, so I created my password for the VM. I'm going to hit create. So you can see here, it's now creating a virtual machine. So we did all those things 20 minutes ago. We did that. Now we're going to go ahead and let the VM to be created. It's going to be ITKYWS 2022 Windows Server 2020. We're going to get started. All right, so the lab is created now, and we got the lab machine is ready. In this case, the VM was added there. So if I go to my virtual machine or all my virtual machines, you can see that. And I could add more to it. In this case, we're going to actually add the Windows 11, Windows PC, Windows 11 Cloud PC. We're going to add that one. Same thing here. Actually, I'm going to leave it for now because we want to save on time. So now we are here. This is our virtual machine settings. You can see the size. We can change that later on if we wanted to. And then we can change it to some different size. We can downsize, upsize, you name it. And then you can also lock it, and you can also add a disk. Right now the disk is fine. It's 127 gigabyte. It's standard HDD. And then we have auto artifact. We can do auto shutdown is already there, but it should be getting the policies from there. So auto shutdown is there. Auto start adding is supposed to get it from there. And then formulas, custom image, we can do custom image, and then we can do other things. So this one is created. Now what we need to do is actually go ahead and actually verify that the user can actually claim any VM. So let me go to my other machine. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and attempt to log in with one of my test users. I might have to do a secret store here just to see. So let's see, VM password. Can I delete? Yeah, I can delete that, but I can add another one. And I'm going to try to create a secret. So that way we're going to name this one. All right, so I saved that over there, and I'm going to set the VM to use that one. So we need to add though more VMs. I wonder if I can make the same VMs over and over again. So can I add here? No, not as easily. So can I, hold on, let's see if we can actually duplicate this VMs, because I don't want to create every time I need to do VM from scratch. So I'm going to unclaim this right now. It's already assigned me as a user, so I need to unclaim it. And we can go ahead and see if we can connect to it using, I may have to claim it actually to do this, but that's fine for now. So if I hit connect, should be able to bring the Azure Bash in portal. It's not, it hasn't done anything yet, so it might be unclaimed it. So if I come over here now, claim this VM again. So now we have this as my virtual machine. Come over here, connect. It's not doing the connecting easily. Let's see if we can come over here from the top over here. Click on connect. So it's still doing RDP. It's not doing the bash end yet. So I'm not sure. We're gonna need to fix that. So let's come over here, and it's still doing something over here too. So that could be a thing. It's claiming the VM. While he's doing this one, I noticed one thing that we need to do. We need to come over to configuration, auto shutdown policy. So this is the auto start is set up, auto shutdown is set up. So we just wanted to make sure that that's set up. Alright, so let's come back to my virtual machine now. So I don't know, the browser connect is actually disabled. So let's come over here. Can we do anything with that one? No. Let me come back to the setup over here. And then let's see the browser connect. I'm gonna turn it off. It's set to no for whatever reason. So let's come over here to turn it on again. We do need the browser connect to work. So maybe on the virtual network, we need to do that. So let's come over here to portal and then do a virtual network. This one is our thing, Azure Bashin. So the VM name, and then we're gonna put in the VM password. So we could use that right away like that. This is the connected device. So why is not working? So I have to use a private IP to connect to it, which is really something we can do this later on. For now, let's go back. We're gonna just connect to the traditional RDP. Connect. Open. I'm using a Mac, so it's gonna try to be a little difficult for me. So I'm gonna right click, open with desktop tool. So this is the machine. It's setting it up right now. There you go. We're connected to the machine. Everything is running great. Visual Studio getting installed. Unity is getting installed, or it's already installed rather. That's why it probably took a while to provision. So if I do right now, again, that's fine. Let's go ahead and actually do this. CMD, WinVer. So you can see Windows Server 28, and then we're gonna do host name. So that's the name of the machine I gave it to. And then on top of that, if you go to the control panel, now you're gonna see that this machine has a lot of things installed for us to be able for us to develop. And obviously the most important thing in this case is gonna be checking the specification. So you can see 16 gig of memory is Intel Pentium processor. It's a very beefy machine. Now let's test to see if we can do a nested on this VM. So we're gonna do add rules and features. Next. I don't think we can do it right now without doing anything. Hit add features. I expect this to fail, because the processor probably doesn't have that. So we can actually run a command prompt to do this on PowerShell, and that would be great to do it. Or we could technically see if we can go use another VM with a different SKU. Right now, I'm happy with what it does. So let's go ahead and actually launch what we call our Visual Studio. Let's see how fast it is. This is always a slow program, but we're not on the deadwood yet. So it's launching. So let's see if it's going to launch all the way. So far, it's been almost 60 seconds, so a minute. It's definitely taking its time. It's definitely very slow, but we have to be patient with this. All right, so it's there. Let's do skip for now. Start Visual Studio. It's a very resource intensive process. So the fact that it's running in a matter of from start to finish, it's great. And I think for anybody who's trying to get a project started, do their own development, this would be a no-brainer. All right, so we can create like a brand new project. And again, we're not ready to do anything at this level yet. So I'm just trying to test the performance level. And so far, I can say it requires some patience. Huge patience, but it will be something that's doable. Maybe it has to do with the fact that I'm not using premium at all, premium disk at all. So that could be a thing. And I may have to just figure out if I need to swallow that cost and do the premium. Yes, so let's actually stop this VM right now. And then we need to deploy another one tomorrow for sure. But that's something we can do tomorrow. I'll probably make a following up things to it, and then we can go from there. So thanks for watching, and then let's do part 2.